Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Gambits Forge showcase, where I showcase all of our modules and creative things, everything D&D within Foundry. Today, I am showing off our brand new module called SceneForge. Real quick, before I show you what the module does and how to use it, I just want to share a quick story on what inspired this module. Like a lot of dungeon masters, I have spent hours preparing my sessions. I build maps, I write quests, I place encounters, and I try to think of every possible direction that my players might go. But if you've been a dungeon master for any amount of time, you know one thing is always true. Your players never do what you expect them to do. The moment that inspired us to make this module actually came from one of my own campaigns. I had a party that, they're relatively new to D&D, but I mean, it can happen to anyone. But essentially, they were on this map that we're seeing here, and their objective was to just go north and essentially meet these people over by these tents to figure out what's going on, in the area. And they spawned exactly right here, and one of the ranger actually said, "Oh, well, there's a little path over here. I wonder what's over here." And then the entire party was just like, "Yeah, what's over here?" And they just continued down the road, only to go to nothing. I had nothing prepared. I had no idea what was over there, and I just wish I had a quick way to just import a map that would make sense for this region. And that's why we created, this module. It's essentially, it does use AI. It won't replace the beauty of just normal maps, that we create during our prep when we're preparing for our sessions. But we have it to the point where you can say and type 3 to 5 words about what kind of map you want, and within 5 to 10 seconds you get a map that is playable for players and makes sense to what you had already said to the module. Another good example is, if you're in a very, very large city, such as this city here, and they're just kind of like exploring, and they're supposed to go to this like armory area, which is initially what I had set up, and they decide, you know what, I want to check out this cool building right here, like it looks really cool, I want to know what it is. And so they travel over and they go in, and you're same thing, you're like, oh shit. So what you can do is you could say, okay, it kind of looks like a library, and you would go into the module and say, create me the interior only of a library in a kind of an elvish city. It is square dimensions, many different hallways, but the overall building is square. And within 10 seconds, you now have a playable map where they can walk in, they can check out the library, they can read books, do whatever, their heart desires. And it creates a better experience for not only the dungeon master, but also the players. It allows them to be more creative and kind of write their own story. There are times where, as a dungeon master, you'll have to railroad people, but this prevents a railroad where it's not really needed. If they want to explore a library, they can explore a library. If they would rather go to, the tavern instead of a blacksmith, I mean, you can easily get a tavern map online. So it's probably a bad example, but if they want to go into like a random person's house, and what will happen, or like a random shop, you can easily just generate a map that makes sense to the story using our module. So I'm going to showcase it real quick for you guys. All right, so we're going to jump in and showcase the module for you. First things first, you want to make sure that SceneForge is active. It's an active module. And then you'll go to your game settings, and you're going to link your Discord. This is going to do is it's going to connect your role in our Discord server so that you are able to use the module itself. When you click the link Discord button, the Gambit bot is going to pop up. A lot of times you'll actually have to log into Discord, but because I've already done it, it's used to me. So you really only have to log in once. I'm going to click authorize. And then the module itself is going to take a second here, and it's going to verify AI Discord links successfully. So if I go to my settings now, it will say linked, yes, tier 1. So I'm a tier 1 Patreon subscriber, which by the way is only $8, and it gives you a monthly limit of 50 maps. I'm going to sync the subscription just to make sure it's synced. It says we're good. We have remaining this month, we have 50 map generations. So after that, it's super easy. Let's say we're in game, you know, our party arrives to the main place, and, you know, let's say I have a map for the inside of this little dungeon, and the party says, you know what, I want to investigate this little shed right here. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, go ahead, and as you approach, are you approaching, you know, sneakily, or go ahead and give me a perception check, or, you know, whatever check you want to do, and just kind of play off. I'm going to hit generate map in the meantime, and I'm just going to type interior of a old broken down square, cobblestone ruin house. I'm going to do this as a small map. You can do a extra large map, medium map, small map. And we do have it coded to where it will automatically size the image for you so that it kind of matches up. It's a little wonky right now, so you might have to make adjustments based off of your token sizes. But I'm going to go with a small map here. Image orientation. I'm going to say when you walk in, it's going to be a portrait because I want the image to be taller than, you know, side to side. Okay, so we're ready to go here. I'm just going to hit generate map. And within a few seconds here, yep, we should have a map that pops up, and it automatically activates the scene, which in the future you will be able to turn that feature off in the future. But yeah, I mean, this is what it created. It is top down, it is playable, it is, you know, VTT ready. Now in the future, we are going to put in so that the lighting and that the walls are correct. Right now it doesn't automatically do that. It just, boom, does the map. So your players are going to be able to see the entire map with no walls or no vision constraints. So that is something that we are planning for in the future. But the gist of it is, I mean, we only really typed, you know, a sentence or two. Like I can put a spooky forest road with a witch's hut. Oh, witch's hut. You know, if you were to do this, we're going to say it's a medium map. But if you were to do this in any other AI generator other than the one that we created, it's going to make just like a wonky map. It may not be top down. You know, it may create characters or put just random things here. And we have it all coded so that it knows that, hey, we are working on Foundry and we're making a virtual tabletop map. And within a couple seconds here, we should get this new map. There it is. Perfect. There's the map. You know, it's a spooky road with this kind of a spooky looking road. It has a little witch's hut. It didn't make the interior because I didn't ask it to make the interior, which is okay. You know, we can obviously make another map and say, you know, make me the interior of a witch's hut. But this is really, really useful. And this is a medium map. It knows to make the map a certain size. So if I put my character in, he's about the right size for this map. He's about the size of the door, and it knows to generate a map the correct size that you want, because we selected a medium map compared to the small map that we created. Couple other things that we have. So if you right click your scene, I'm going to generate these thumbnails just so I know which one's which. But if you right click the scene, you have a couple additional options here. You have edit image, you have export preset or import preset, and then you have SceneForge rate map. And what that does is, if it generates a map that you feel is not what you asked for, or it's a little wonky, which, at the end of the day, it still is AI, you can dislike the map. And what that's going to do is it's going to let us to look at the map and be able to teach the AI a little bit further. And that's going to help tremendously on, we've already trained it so much to make sure everything is top down and will work. And then obviously edit image. Edit image does count as a actual generation. So we'll generate basically a new image. It counts towards your 50 towards the month for tier 1. But like, let's say, I look at this and I say, I want it to make the interior of the witch's hut, or, the bottom of these trees look kind of weird, like the roots are sticking out. I could say, hey, make sure all the trees have roots that go into the ground. Or, let's say I want to put a little pond over here. You can absolutely do that. When you rate that you don't like the map or that you like the map, it will save your edit instructions so that we can see exactly what you didn't like about the map or what you wanted added to the map. And again, allows us to develop a better, experience with the module in the future. Now, that's about all I have for today regarding the module. Obviously, we are constantly updating it. In the description of this video, I'm going to put our Patreon link and our Discord link. Feel free to join the Discord first if you would like, but you will need the Patreon subscription to link to your Discord to have access to the module itself. You'll be able to download it, but you won't be able to link your subscription. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. We have a lot of things planned in the Discord. We have open discussions on how to make it better, and we also have a voting poll for what module or what artwork you want to see next. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in on Gambits Forge Showcase.